For the first time, Shinji and his gang experienced resurrection after getting killed on the 60th floor. When they returned, they were greeted with all kinds of reactions from the many spectators, ranging from boos over their loss to words of consolation. Battles in the Labyrinth were broadcasted exclusively, and the trio's fights garnered a lot of popularity. Of course, they could have refused to let their battles get broadcasted, since that was part of an opt-in agreement. For two reasons, however, Shinji decided to allow it. Firstly, they would receive a cut of the profits earned by broadcasting their battles. Secondly, he figured that if they became famous, it would guarantee their safety. After all, they were in the heart of enemy territory, and getting assassinated was less likely if they were well known. Besides, they were told that only the boss battles would be aired, so they didn't have to be mindful of it the entire time. They were sure to profit quite a bit from this, so Shinji had no reason to decline. The other two didn't complain, either. Hence, they accepted the contract, and the outcome was this reaction by the people around them. That was unfortunate. Looks like you'll have to train a bit more and try again. No way, that was impossible. What the hell were those monstrosities? That swordsman was wicked fast, and the skeleton sitting on the throne, that was a legendary monster, right? Probably a White King. Even a high-ranking demon would be no match for it. It's a living calamity that controls death itself. That reminds me, was that dragon even alive? It didn't look like decoration, but if it were to join the fray, then, to be honest, humans wouldn't stand a chance of winning. A lot of questions were getting thrown around. The trio just laughed in response and did their best to escape from the scene. Well, I guess we'll have to place our hopes on the hero. With this, you guys have managed to reach the same record as Masayuki-sama. If you plan to win, you'll have to find a way to deal with that boss, while Masayuki-sama is busy preparing for the war. Yeah. I was betting on you guys winning. You'll get him next time. The shouting followed them all the way as they headed back to the inn. The three collapsed on their beds as soon as they reached their room. Hey, what should we do now? Mark inquired. There's nothing we can do. Just let me rest for a bit, replied Shinji, utterly exhausted. They had enthusiastically challenged the boss, but the difficulty made the previous 59 floors look like a walk in the park. On the 60th floor, even the small fries had group coordination. A sentient monster called the Death Lord attacked them, accompanied by its own subordinates. Even after somehow overcoming these difficult enemies and eventually reaching the boss room, in the end, they met a grisly death. Are we reporting this to Yuki-san? Shin's question made Shinji sit up. He sighed as he sat on his bed. Mark and Shin also sat up, and the three of them faced one another. Report it or not, that thing is impossible. Who knew the secret area would be this intense? Yeah, we were completely fine until the 59th floor. So, what the hell was that 60th floor? The Death Lord was roaming around with its own platoon of Death Knights. That's a slaughterhouse for any ordinary soldier. Yeah. That was bad. The power level of that floor's guardians shot up exponentially compared to the previous floors. Not just the knight that defeated us, but also that skeleton on the throne and the death dragon beside it. I think those three are the secret bosses. The trio started shooting the breeze eagerly. The excitement got the better of them as they chattered away without a worry in the world. The facades they'd kept up these few days melted away. Also, that skeletal boss, who sat on the throne the whole time, is a White King. Anyone with advanced appraisal magic could have seen just what that skeleton really is. But his presence is completely different in person, compared to on a screen. Right on. If you bumped into that guy without any preparation, it wouldn't end nicely. To be honest, Shin concluded, I don't want to challenge it again. The White King hadn't even joined the battle. He hadn't moved from his throne, as if to display the dignity of a king. The Gozu monster, which seemed like a regular boss, was easily A rank. With that as a reference, the 60th floor is way too overpowered, isn't it? That was just awful. Maybe everything up until the 50th floor was just intended to lower our guard. But now I'm sure of it. There must be something in the labyrinth if such strong monsters are protecting it, Shinji concluded without a shred of doubt in his voice. I guess so. I mean, that knight named Albert was brutally strong. Even his equipment was different from the others. I tried analyzing it while Mark was fighting, and shockingly, it turned out to be a unique great masterpiece. No wonder. And here I thought I could crush any opponent, no matter what they had, with my Minos' Bardage. Come on, beating a boss with a weapon that you've picked up only works in games. Yeah, true, we kinda overestimated ourselves, huh? Yeah. The three looked at each other again and sighed heavily. After their energetic discussion, they had finally calmed down. They brewed tea for themselves and took a breather. Wanna give it another shot tomorrow? Shinji asked tentatively. Are you serious? It's impossible. No matter how many times we try, we'll always fail. I thought so. That hero is that Masayuki guy Yuki-san told us about, right? I've heard that he's just a lucky teenager, but he's challenged the 60th floor, huh? Mark remarked. No, Shinji answered, it looks like he hasn't. I heard he's zipping along, without dying, not even once. And what about the others? There's a rumor that the strongest ones are still challenging the 50th floor. However, they didn't sign the broadcasting contract, so the highest record of those broadcasted would be Masayuki's conquest of the 50th floor. Other than that, it seems like there are several groups on the 40th floor. Even if you agreed to the broadcasting contract, they wouldn't broadcast you on every floor. Only the floors that were multiple of 10 were equipped with cameras. Other than those, it seemed like news crews occasionally followed the challengers around for scoops during events and such. Since they had challenged the 60th floor while on air, Shinji and his group had become the talk of the town. Apparently, they also became the focus of gambling, owing to the countless records they broke. You know, Shinji pondered, I think it's likely Masayuki received some behind-the-scenes info. That being the existence of the secret bosses on the 60th floor. Then it's no wonder we lost. 2 brokenly strong guys and a dragon to top it off. Can you believe it? That labyrinth is horribly unbalanced. It was reasonably balanced till the 50th floor, so those really must be the secret bosses. I'm sure the town is beyond that floor. The 3 consoled themselves as they chatted and began planning their next steps. Now that we're in the limelight, we can't continue spying. That's not a problem. As I said earlier, we're safer this way. We've also only been exploring the labyrinth. Then, why don't we wait for Gadra-sama to come? We can't keep challenging the dungeon by ourselves, can we? Or should we do some training? Mark wondered aloud. First Shinji replied with a grim smile. Let's report to Yuuki-san that there's definitely something beyond that floor, and that the guardians were abnormally strong. Next, let's tell him how huge the labyrinth really is. No matter what magic is used to make such large spaces, it extends so far down it can't possibly be man-made, right? Mark added. Also, don't forget to mention that the monsters on that floor were far and away the toughest ones, yet Shin reminded everyone. Shinji nodded. I know. Then, let's go sightseeing after contacting him. Now that the matter was settled, it was time to act. The trio stepped out onto the busy streets of the night. Shinji and his colleagues went to the outskirts of town and started reporting as instructed. They forwarded a brief message to Yuki, and after about 10 minutes, they were contacted by him through magic communication. Hey, it's good to know you guys are doing fine. We were okay up until yesterday. Today has just been awful. Hahaha, seems like you guys have had it rough. So, what do you plan to do next? It depends on Master Gadra. We can't conquer the 60th floor alone, and there is no way to sneak into the labyrinth. Just as I thought. Then, let me ask you one thing. Yes. How strong do you think the boss of the 60th floor was? What does your gut tell you? This was something that only the trio could understand. It meant how strong the opponent was when compared to the ranks of the Imperial Guardians. Shinji thought hard to himself. He wasn't typically interested in the rank battles of the military. He didn't have any ambition of rising through the ranks, so he hadn't participated in any. Yuki had taken him under his wing, and Shinji was indebted to him in other various ways, and thus he became Yuki's subordinate with the intention of repaying his kindness. Since he was reluctant to help criminal organizations, Shinji instead chose the path of the army. So when Yuki became the corps commander, he was quickly moved from his former department, the Armored Corps, to the Mixed Corps. Some of the other wielders had a similar mindset. They didn't show off their powers and tried to live a carefree life, avoiding serious responsibilities. The powers and abilities of these people were a mystery, so it wasn't really known whether the Imperial Guardians were actually the strongest. But at least on paper, they were the strongest force in the Empire. In a sense, it was natural to use the rankings as a guide. Let's see. Probably at least within the upper 50. Anything lower is out of the question, I'd say. And that's just for this night, Albert, alone. Yes. I'm not sure if this will help you get an idea for its power, but I had once joined an archdemon subjugation force as its military doctor. I only caught a glimpse of that demon, but the White King that I saw today has about the same magical count as that thing. Could you be referring to Lakeshore-dyed Scarlet? Yes. That's right. Understood. That's actually really helpful. Then, you 3 should take it easy until old Master Gadra joins up with you. Yuki advised as he ended the call.